Welcome to Nebuchadnezzar. I've been looking forward to this one for a long time, mainly because I really enjoyed the Sierra and Impressions games way back in the day, late 90s, early 2000s, games like Caesar 3, Pharaoh, Zeus, Cleopatra, Poseidon, and Rise of the Middle Kingdoms. Emperor Rise of the Middle Kingdoms. That was the last game of this like 2.5D isometric city builder series that they had, and I really wish they would have done an American version, starting with Plymouth Rock and going forward. But there's also a game that's coming out next year, which is called America Build or something like that. I'm really looking forward to that one. But here's Nebuchadnezzar. We're going to start with the campaign, and this is my first time playing it. I'm very familiar with these types of games, so we'll see how different this one is. But this campaign is going to basically bring us through the entire story of ancient Mesopotamia. And there's the map. You can see this is like the Fertile Crescent, right? And we're starting at 10,000 BC. And there's the Tigris and Euphrates going down to the Persian Gulf. Over there, well, not yet, but Israel will be there sooner or later. And the very first mission, we are supposed to get 300 population, 20 wheat, 20 bread, and 12 shacks, which are the homes. And so this culture was a long time ago. Whether or not you believe it's 10,000 BC or 8,000 BC or 4,000 BC, it really doesn't matter. The point is, it was ancient history. And basically people started making settlements. These are, of course, the relatives and descendants of Adam and Eve. And they went into this area here and started creating these settlements. There were some archaeological digs that basically saw these things, but the entire diameter of this city here was about 75 meters, so it wasn't very big. I could go for easy, but I kind of know these type of games. Hopefully it's not too difficult, but I'm going to go for normal. And here we're loading it up. Beautiful art. It'll be nice to get to that type of city right there, where I've got that much. Alright, here we are in the first map. Well, this map looks very familiar to those who played this type of city builders before. But basically we have a group of nomads that are going to come in here, and this is the tutorial here. So this is the first time that I've played, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start this tutorial. Alright, so we got a window there, which is basically this guy, and I'm going to go ahead and just drag it around. And we can remove it, and we can move the map around, of course, with the WSD keys, and then or the up, down, left, right. And we'll go ahead and do that. There we go. There's the map movement. Nice little river over there, it looks like. So we can zoom out here. Let's take a look. So we have some rocks, looks like, down there, and then some fertile land up there. We can also speed up the game. There's all kinds of different ways to speed it up. If you just want to temporarily speed it up, you can just hold down the key, and then it will just speed up 4x right there. And then there's other ways to also do it. You can hit the num plus and num minus keys. And that'll go ahead and speed it up or slow it down. And then also those buttons over there in the UI. And then we can pause the game by hitting the space key. I like using the pause key in these games so that things don't get out of control quickly, and you're able to pause it and go back. Now, Looks like there's a couple of few green question marks over there, and that just gives you more information. I guess it's probably like a wiki or something like that, but we won't take a look at that right now. So now we're going to start building some houses. So the first thing we need to do is we need to open up the menu in order to select the required building, and then we're going to choose where we want to build the building. And if it's green, then we can go ahead and build it there. So let's take a look here. It's under infrastructure, logics, and house. There we go. So let's build these houses. There it is. It's going to cost us 20 coins, it looks like, to build the house. And right now we've got 2,024, so we got plenty of coins. All right. So now we've got our thing. You can see it's in red right now. We can't build there. And then you're noticing over there in the section, so I'm going to zoom in here. And there we go. And now we've got 4 houses we want to build. 1, 2. And our first settlers have arrived in the city. That's great. And there's number 3. And there's 4. Oh, it looks like there's a little difference between one of them and the other. Looks like just pure aesthetics. But I'm going to go ahead and drag and drop these 8 over here. So now I've got a total of 12. And these are the 12 shacks that I needed to have. So let's go ahead and build the road, because they can't actually move into the house unless you've got a road that connects them. And now you'll see them coming in, move into those houses. And now we have roads that are connected and they're all accessible. So that's really cool. Now, in order to take a look at your objectives, you hit this mission button over here. And that shows that we have our 12 shacks. It appears as though each shack holds 30 people. So we've got 360 people in our city. And we still need to have wheat and bread. So I guess the next point is to start growing some wheat. And we need to build a farm in order to do that. There's a crop farm. It's 100. And we're going to build it over here in the fertile zone. So let's go ahead and place that down there. Great. And now, instead of just having a farm, now you have to build the fields that are surrounding the farm or close to the farm in order for them to actually have crops and harvest and so forth. So you'll notice that we have three workers here, and got 2 that are waiting. And if you click on that button there for wheat, see, build fields, and then you build wheat field, and you can drag these wheat fields out. And so we've got 18 fields there, another 18 fields there for 36. Now here, he's explaining basically, if we take a closer look at the farm window, we can notice that these guys are able to service 18 fields apiece. So that's efficiency. That's why you want to build 36, because the first guy can handle 18 fields, and the second guy can handle another 18 fields. So let's go ahead and take a look here. The farmers aren't working yet, and that's because just a few of the fields are actually growing, but they weren't able to sow all the fields because sowing time is between January and March, and now it's right now it's May. So we're going to get some, but not all. So before we're going to buy a bakery, we're going to talk about transporting goods. So basically, you've got these guys called haulers, and these haulers are the ones who transport goods from one building to another building. And in order to do that, you've got to actually be within their sphere of influence, which is basically this blue overlay. So anything in the range is going to have a blue overlay, and that will allow you to know whether or not where you're placing the building, and they can go ahead and have a hauler haul between the 2 buildings. So let's go ahead and build our bakeries. 1 and 2. Notice those are in blue. And so the blue is good because, well, you're able to haul the wheat between the farm and the bakery so that they can bake the bread and make the bread. So we're going to build a couple of warehouses here. One of them is going to be built in order to store the actual wheat. And we're going to put that next to the farm. We're going to put the bread one there and then the wheat one up there. So now we have bread that's going to be next to the bakeries, and the wheat is going to be next to the farm. So in order to be able to do that, we have to open up the warehouse menu to limit which goods and to also allow which goods that we want for each warehouse. So you'll notice that when I open this warehouse up here, that's right clicking on, we're able to do some actions there. But notice here, there's bread, and what I want to do is I don't want to have bread go in there. So I'm just going to go ahead and turn that off. Now notice that the only thing I can store in there now is wheat. And conversely, for the warehouse next to there, I'm going to turn off wheat so that only bread can go in there. Notice there's a whole bunch of wheat that just got harvested, and they've just been put into the warehouse, and now they're being moved into the bakery, and it would happen so fast, so close you really can't even see it. But notice that the bakery's already started to bake bread. So they've already started to make bread, and the bread has gone into the warehouse. So that's the end of the of his assistance, because now all we need to do is just basically run the time and watch the wheat go to the bakeries, and then also watch the bakeries make the bread. So notice that these guys are now sowing the field because it's February. They started in January, and they're able to sow these fields. One thing to note is that when they sow the field, each field does not represent one wheat. It actually represents one half of one wheat. So 36 fields will provide 18 wheats. So be careful about that, because if you think it's 36, it's not. It's actually 18. So just keep that in mind for wheat, that it is one half wheat per field once the field is sown. So now you'll notice that we've got 8 of those breads in stock. This is very common for these kind of games to have 4 for each of those different squares, basically, so that a warehouse can hold 36 items. And so now you notice that you've got the full 2 squares there. There's 1, 2 going into the warehouse, and then from the other bakery, we'll get the other 2. But notice that, see, the wheat is coming into the warehouse right there, and then it's going directly into the bakeries. So there's 4 wheat stored in that bakery there. And we need to get 20 wheat and 20 bread. Right now we've got 12 bread and no wheat, because all of our wheat has gone into the bakeries. So you notice we've got, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to deactivate this building for right now, because I don't necessarily want to have a whole bunch of wheat go in there for the next harvest, right? So, because I want the wheat stored in the warehouse so that I can have my 20 wheat. It's going to take a couple of harvests in order to get there, because right now I've got 0, and like I said, the maximum is 18. So we've got 16 bread, and so we need 4 more bread, and we've got six of them there. I wish that there was an option here to like say, do not, you know, I want the workers to keep working, but I don't want to ship any more goods. But it doesn't look like there's an option in order to do that. So there's 2, and on the other one, and then there's 4 stored in there, and I only need 2 more. So what I'd like to do is actually deactivate the building as soon as these guys make these two. And so there we go. I deactivate them. But the problem is that they were deactivated so soon, they actually weren't able to deliver the bread. And what's really interesting though is that the bread is actually lost. It's gone. You can never recover it. So you got to be really careful about deactivating your buildings while somebody is transporting them, because they will be lost. And so that's not something that I planned for here, but it's something that I obviously just found out, which is great, because it's earlier the better that you find these things out in this kind of game. So we've got 60 wheat stored up. Next harvest, we're going to be able to go ahead and get our 20 wheat into the warehouse. And then as for bread, I just basically need to make 2 more bread, and then we're set. So now we've sown the field, and it's May, and we're getting toward the harvesting time. And here's June. We don't harvest yet in June, so we have to go through there. And then here we go. So in July we start harvesting, and notice that we're getting a bunch of wheat and bread in, and then we got a whole bunch of wheat going into there, and then we also have they're also basically pushing it all into the warehouse. So we should have actually 34 wheat, 16 plus 18 here by the time we're done completely harvesting. And there we are, we've got 34 wheat. So we basically need 2 more bread, and then we're set. So let's just go ahead and let's activate this building. Actually, let's activate this building. And notice that they're pushing the wheat into that building as soon as they can. So, I gotta be careful here, because the wheat is really going out. Although it does look like that 10 is the maximum that's going to be able to be stored. And so this is where I'm testing it out, where I've just noticed that the bread is lost. And this is something that I just noticed, throughout looking at this thing. I sent one guy off just to make sure. Sure enough, the bread that he made is just gone. So it doesn't turn back into wheat. It doesn't store bread anywhere. It's just gone. Not sure what this does. It's a caravan. Okay, so I guess we'll learn about that later. But there's 1 bread, and we should be getting done bread. There we are. Mission complete. Well, thanks for joining me for episode 1, and I'll see you in episode 2.